Here are a few example problems to help you start off with the using linear equations to solve problems lesson of Algebra 1. The first example. Robert has 40 meters of fencing. He plans to fence in a rectangular dog run that is 8 meters wide. The formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is 2L plus 2W. So perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Remember, perimeter is just the distance around something. So we're talking about a rectangle here, and we want to know the distance all the way around this. That's the perimeter. So how can we find that? We want to find out how long the run can be made. So we know that the width is 8 meters. We know that piece. We need to find the length now. So let's go ahead and use this formula for the perimeter to find that. So we know that P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, and we're given a couple pieces of information. Let's go ahead and highlight these. The first thing is we know that the width is 8 meters, and we know that the total distance around that perimeter is 40 meters. So we know those two pieces of information. So we're going to go ahead and fill those in. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in that 40 for P, and we're going to go ahead and fill in the 8 for the W. So we're going to substitute those in to this formula right now. So we have 40 equals 2 times L plus 2 times 8. Okay, so 40 equals 2L plus 16. Now we're going to go ahead and subtract 16 from both sides. Okay, we're trying to solve for L here. And I'll just bring it up here. So 40 minus 16 is 24. So 24 equals 2L. Okay, we're solving for L, so divide by 2 on both sides, and this is going to give us our length, which is 12. So that's how long it could be made. Now we could go ahead and just make sure that that is correct by substituting 12 into our formula. So let's go ahead and just check our work really quick here. So P equals 2 times L, which is 12, plus 2 times, I'm kind of running out of room here, but that works. So 2 times 12 plus 2 times 8. So P equals 2 times 12 is 24 plus 16. Okay, and then grab a calculator if you're not sure, but 24 plus 16, if we add those together, we do in fact get 40. So that checks out. Okay, so we always want to go ahead and check our work just to make sure that our answers are reasonable here. So we know that the run can be made, that the run can be 12 meters. Okay, next one. An airline allows each passenger 30 kilograms of luggage. Ben has to lower the weight of his suitcase by 40% to stay within the limit. So we want to figure out how much did the suitcase originally weigh. Okay, so in this case we're going to be setting up an equation to help us figure out what that suitcase originally weighed. Okay, so here's our equation. Let's kind of just take that and let's put it into words here, and then we can then solve that equation. So we know that the total amount permitted, we'll call it. So this is the 30 kilograms equals the original weight minus %40 of the original weight. So let's go ahead and just translate that. So 40%, we could write that as a decimal. We have to do something with it. So we can either move the decimal point over 2 places, or we could just convert it to a fraction. If you convert it to a fraction, we can put it as, we would start as 40 over 100, okay? And then we have 4/10, and if we simplify it, we have 2/5. So I think 2/5 might be the easiest way to use this. So we have 2/5 of the original weight. All right. So the total amount permitted, let's go ahead and just highlight that. We know that it's 30 kilograms. So let's go ahead and write out our equation. So the total amount permitted is 30 kilograms equals the original weight, we're just going to call W, minus 2/5 of that original weight, which is also W. All right, so what we're doing now is we're going to solve for W. So first let's go ahead and combine like terms. So if W minus 2/5 W, remember you could think of that W as having a 1 in front of it. So what is 1 minus 2/5? We can go ahead and just find common denominators. So transfer 1 to 5 over 5 minus 2/5. Oops. So 5/5 minus 2/5 is going to give us 3/5. So we have 30 equals 3/5 W. Okay, so we're solving for W, so we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 3/5. Okay, and off to the side here, 30 divided by 3/5. When we're dividing fractions, we want to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal, so we take 30 times 5/3, and that equals 150 over 3, which would then just translate to, I know this is kind of running into the original equations, 150 over 3 is just going to equal 50. So W equals 50. So our suitcase originally weighed 50 kilograms. Let's go ahead and just look at it really quick here in a different color. If you prefer to use decimals, that is fine too. So let's look at how we would solve that equation if we used a decimal instead of instead of the fraction. So I'm up here at the top in green, top left of the screen. So we have 30 equals W minus, and then we would use 4 tenths. So 4 tenths W. Okay, so we have W minus 4 tenths W. So 1 minus 4 tenths. Okay, you could go ahead and put that in a calculator. Okay, if you go through that though, you should be getting 6 tenths or 0.6. Okay, so we have 30 equals 6 tenths W. All right, from here we're just dividing both sides by 6 tenths. And feel free to use a calculator for that. 30 divided by 6 tenths. Okay, if you're plugging it in correctly, it should give you 50. So RW is 50. So that's just the other way of doing it if you prefer to use a decimal. However, you should be comfortable with both methods. You should be able to use not only decimals, but also fractions, okay? So both ways are fine though. All right, so thanks for watching and hope your day goes great.